Welcome back. Let's commentate this game here, and maybe afterward take a look at a game I recently played. Um, yeah, so we have our favorite 3Q, Shimon, playing against our favorite 10Q, Ashen Silverwolf. Shimon is playing black and has opted for, well, I'm not totally sure yet. He's got some sort of flexible position. Looks like he might be picking a static rook opening. Is this what he had intended to play? Okay, he was kind of forced into that. Then played his fourth file pawn and then decided not to switch to swinging rook. He still could transition, but it would get difficult. His opponent, Ashen Silverwolf, has built Boat Castle. Yeah, so this static pawn advance, this has to be met with some kind of resistance so the file doesn't break open in a way that loses the bishop. Now we've seen in recent games perhaps just silver 3-2 is enough. Perhaps there's not a need to do anything too fancy here. There we go. And yeah, probably at some point we'll consider, but I don't know if we'll play king 3-1. So the notion behind king 3-1 would be that hypothetically that bishop might move somewhere else, or might be chased somewhere else, and we might need to cover the 2-2 square. The trade-off is kind of obvious that this is closer to Shimon's rook. Alright, so we are building left-hand Yagra after all, which you normally just call Yagra. Alright, the king dives right into the fray. So you see here, there's one piece. There's another piece. So, yep, Silverwolf is asking to be attacked. And we'll see if an attack transpires or not. What more is there to say, really? Huh. So I wonder, okay, yeah, Yagra is clearly like that shape with a couple generals and the bishop at the head there. But I don't recognize these other two generals also hanging out there. This looks like a much more stable Yagra, I guess. That's a snow roof. Oh, it's beautiful. Like, I can see this is kind of like a cabin, and there's a chimney, and there's this, and like, yeah, snow roof. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that is quite similar to Yagra. Wow. You learn something new every day. Um, I'm guessing that his opponent, Ashen Silverwolf, is similarly surprised. Yagra has, oh, silver 3, silver 7-7, whereas Snowroof has bishop at 3-3 and 7-7. Okay. That's important to note. Wow, we're shoving a lot of pawns today. One thing I've noticed, and I'd meant to bring this up during yesterday's 5-hour stream and just never had a chance to, um, or never had an appropriate opportunity, is that it seems one thing I've noticed is that it helps if your pawns are targeting the same file where there is an opposing general or an opposing heavy piece. So here, there's 3 generals and a bishop on the 3rd and 4th files. So it seems to me those are the files where we want to push pawns and aim for a breakthrough, because the heavy piece, the bishop, as well as the generals, are our targets here. I mean, yes, the king is a target, but the king runs quickly, and other pieces don't always have easy ways to run. The bishop here, fortunate for itself, can run, but sometimes it can be difficult for the bishop to find a good square. So this knight advance, this knight's loose, so yeah, I was wondering, what did Shimon have planned against this? He has to have something planned. He knows what he's doing in general. So I assume he's going to protect this knight, and then just play pawn 1-6. Yeah, this is what I was about to comment, is that I don't think this bishop 1-5 forces any concession, but it's still worth looking at in case Shimon messed up, but seems very unlikely. Yeah, right. So this is just an error on Gota's part. It's still worth looking at, but don't play it. Just look at it. Looking is free. Committing is not free. That said, looking can take some effort. Windows reminds me that I am running low on storage space. I'm going to have to highlight myself an episode soon. Wow. Oh, I think I know why I'm running low on storage space. Okay. Perhaps I should remove a game from my computer and download it in Steam later. Let's try that. Unless maybe I can empty the recycle bin or something. Oh, but I can't easily do that while streaming. Can I? Do I have a way to just empty the recycle bin? These are the questions to which we need answers. Gosh, this is tricky to do while streaming. Is there a command line to empty the recycle bin? Alright. Ah, okay. We can try that. Wow, really? Alright. Okay, didn't think so. Wow, there's several answers on Stack Overflow about how to empty the recycle bin. Everybody's come up with a different way of doing it. Access is denied. All right. So we need an elevated command shell. All right. Let's see how much space I have now. Because I fully expected to have plenty of space. I want the stream to continue. I don't want to have to take it down. Okay, yeah, no, I've got enough for the rest of today. We have tripled our disk free space by emptying the recycle bin. Sorry about that. Welp, something happened. And by that I mean, like, Ashen is in Byoyomi, and his king is exposed. Yep. And that's game. Let me turn Madoka back on. Let's re-enable Madoka. Click the wrong thing. There we go. Good game. Should we take a look at whatever post-game commentary they're going to do, if any? To do this, I will need to reduce the board size. I have a couple notes specifically for Shaimon, says Hiroko. 34, Knight 4-5 is interesting. Shaimon says I was not playing this very seriously, to be honest. Oh, goodness. Oh, dear. Yeah, and poor Ashen's like, I just mentioned that you had the Discover check. And then he played the Discover check and was just completely ignored that he was in check. Yeah, that happens to the best of us. And the worst of us. No. Yeah. You gotta, like, downvote that reputation score. Okay. I still need to find a solution for how to show chat. Actually, let me look at how this looks on stream. Oh, hey, look, the page is not responding. That's delightful. So previously, I identified that zooming out would break the page. Here we zoomed in, and that also broke the page. That's special. Alright. Because I can't interact with that. No. It's all busted, man. Okay. Exit pages. Refresh. Loading. Alright. Well, turns out we really can't do anything tricky with zooming in the latest Chromium, I guess. Wow. Hang on. I just reset zoom in the lobby. That also broke. Alright. Yeah. That's delightful. Let's try this again. That said, even despite all these problems, and now it's completely forgotten that, like, I've previously been to this page. Yeah, I honestly don't know what's going on at this point. Let's see. Can this at least find my browser? No. Okay. Yeah, let's try this one. And try to hop back in to Shymon. And I guess we're just going to do without looking too closely at the chat, because I think the game board is going to convey whatever message we need conveyed. In a way, we're going to play like PowerPoint karaoke or something, where I come up with the comments and the players come up with the moves. Now, there is a thing called PowerPoint karaoke where you're just supposed to take a slideshow that you've never seen before and present it live as if you're a subject matter expert. It's an interesting way of testing your speaking abilities. So yeah, I think at some point, this is preparing to bring your silver forward and try to crack open the snow roof, the Agra, the whatever the head of that is, where there's silver, gold, and the bishop on the 7th and 6th files. That seems like the target. So, yeah, Ashen just needs, there goes the silver, there goes the silver. This was a wasted move. This did not need to happen. This only weakened Ashen's position. But, you should still have something. Ooh, that's painful. You can tell how much attention I was paying the first time around while we were trying to fix the stream issues, because OBS and Windows notified us that we were out of disk space, which could crash the stream. So, yeah. Yeah, Nifu would not be the correct move here. But maybe that's what he's trying to articulate, is that he needs to push there so he doesn't Nifu. Okay. Knight takes is legal. Yes, this is definitely a series of legal moves that has some purpose. I'd be scared about moving my knight near my king. But maybe it's not such a big deal, because the edge file is not under attack yet. It's not going to happen until later that the edge file breaks. But this is what you get for moving your knight. So yeah. Don't move the knight. That knight's useful for covering 2 squares that your generals have difficulty covering. What else is there? I don't know. Oh, I should see if I can load the Kifu from the game I attempted this morning. So, some of you may have observed last night. Yeah, let's transition out of this at this point. Some of you may have observed last night that we were watching Kisei, the Throne Challenge match title thing. It was exciting. I'm only slightly loopy. Yeah, let me search for my recent games. There we go. Let's, in a new tab. Okay, let's find a way to cast this. Oh my goodness. Let me, here we go. And can I scroll over slightly? Ooh, I have the next button right here. Beautiful. Fantastic. Welcome back. Sorry, let me put the stream marker and do that again. Welcome back. Yesterday we had some good fun watching Fuji and Watanabe play the Kisei uh, title challenge match. I'm struggling with the words. It was a long and exciting game. And many of us attended yesterday just watching this on Abema and chatting amidst ourselves and listening to the pro commentators and adoring the food. Like, it was a fantastic occasion. Um, and that all said, um, that went on for a number of hours. And then I woke up in the morning and they were still going. Like, these people in Japan play shogi all the way through the night. No, they don't. It's just Japan is in a different time zone than America. So, um, yeah, I managed to wake up and catch the end of the Kisei game as well. Very exciting game. Um, and then after that, a number of us were still so excited by how that game had gone. We decided we wanted to play some games, some practice games. And so I got invited to play a game here with uh, lady professional or women's professional Carolina, Shogi Harbor. She invited quite a few of us to play games, and she was offering a simul. I think this was a 15-minute with 60-second Byoyomi. And so, like, here we are. Last time we played against her, it was a 10-second, very amusing. I'm out of words. I'm still tired because we did so much. But, yeah, I woke up kind of groggy. And I'm like, sure, let's play. Sure, let's see what we can learn today. If a professional wishes to play a game, who am I to say no? So here we are, building our Mino castle, just trying to enjoy a nice, peaceful life, because all shogi is peaceful and full of nice, calm positions with castles that are so firm. Yeah, I admit at this point I was confused. Like, do I want to advance my silver? Do I want to, like, try to transition to a higher Mino castle? It's going to be a little difficult for me to get my bishop out of this position. I didn't really think I could break with a center file pawn. It might have been possible, like, if I pushed my center pawn instead of my sixth file pawn or fourth file pawn. Maybe it would have been possible for my bishop to transition to the diagonal where my king is on. But this would kind of fly in the face of the theory of, like, how do you build a higher Mino castle? Incidentally, this also opened the possibility of me playing Diamond Mino, which showed up in the game. So this kind of left my bishop entombed and kind of ignoring it. This move surprised me. Usually you try to, like, involve your silver or your bishop or something. This seemed, I don't know. But on the other hand, I don't like giving up pawns, and here I am offering a pawn. Yeah, because 4-6 is hanging. And perhaps in a move of kindness, I don't really know. But that pawn was not captured. Also, maybe just taking the pawn is not worth it. Like, I've done side pawn picker, it's been horrible with me picking up a pawn and my opponent getting all kinds of activity. So I was willing to concede a pawn to try to get my pieces active, and we just didn't go that way, and that's fine. So, yeah, let's see. I did start pushing my pawns over here. This surprised me, but it makes sense. This surprised me because there's no rook behind it, because this blocks the bishop, because there are no other generals anywhere else in the vicinity here. But this does force me to make a decision of which way my silver is going. And I have only 4 options here. I mean, taking the pawn is just out. You don't do that here, but yeah, any forward direction here looks kind of interesting. So, I sat there. I was already in time pressure, and I picked a direction. I'm like, hey, this looks like Diamond Mino. Okay, let's do it. That was about the extent of the rationale here. I think I did look at bringing my silver forward and couldn't find any way to force through this rook and pawn armada. So that's why I decided I had to retreat, and I didn't want to retreat in front of my rook, and we could build Diamond Mino, so I'm like, sure, that sounds good, I guess. And yeah, here I was just very confused. So this climbing silver. Oh, I thought I played my the 6th file pawn up. Apparently, I didn't do that yet. I was concerned about this coming over and hitting my pawn here, and I wasn't sure whether my bishop and rook could be overworked trying to cover this. While also this diagonal might suddenly open and this pawn might promote and stuff like that. So in time pressure, I settled on this knight move, which looked kind of active. But very possibly I should have just shoved either one of these pawns forward on the 6th or 8th files. I need to look at more pro games and see how do pros play positions like these, because coming up with original ideas is hard. Coming up with good original ideas is even harder. So I just need to look at more games to get ideas that I can steal. So yeah, I moved my knight up. I pushed this pawn. It seemed reasonable enough. So yeah, this signals an intention to drop a pawn here. And again, I am in time pressure. So yeah, I don't know what's going on here. No freaking clue. I built the Diamond Mino. That's supposed to mean I'm invincible, right? Yeah, okay. Apparently there's a notion of improving my castle. I did look far enough to see if my silver goes forward, she could drop a pawn right in front of my silver. I guess it could go forward again, and then my silver is kind of scissored between these 2 pawns. I saw that, but in general, I have no idea what's going on. I have not watched enough pro games. But yeah, I either have to attack or defend. And I knew I had to do that. But turns out, unlike chess, there's a lot of legal moves in shogi. So yeah, coming up with the right move is not going to happen. Coming up with a good move is still going to be challenging. Oh, so at some point after the game... Wait, when was that? No, it was after this position. After this, Carolina had pointed out, or Shogi Harbor had pointed this out, which I had not thought of, and there's this, which I also had not thought of. But yeah, the notion that this center pawn is going to become a threat at some point, and a rook lift could be extremely effective when there are loose pieces in your opponent's position. Like, the bishop's not strictly loose, but if this knight ever moves, the bishop is loosened. There's nothing covering the third file squares other than the knight. Yeah, and then being able to get the rook around the bishop here means I could start attacking toward the king as well. There are just a lot of ideas that completely were not on my radar at all. So what have we missed here? Twisting rook works in shogi, since there are not a lot of long-range pieces to attack you. Yeah, furthermore, like, Shogi Harbor decided to keep all her generals back here, which solidifies her castle and annoys the heck out of me, because, like, I'm already bad enough at attacking, but attacking when my opponent, like, builds this extremely solid thing that's, like, super difficult to attack confused the heck out of me. Beginners don't build these sorts of castles. Beginners will attack and forget about their castles. So yes, this was tremendously surprising to me. I had like no idea how I even start to approach this, because in addition to 4 generals, also the rook and the pawns are covering all these squares. Like, this king is extremely fortified. So what this means is that I have to break in on the other side and promote some of my pieces. Even though I have nothing in hand, I can't like drop anything to promote. Also, all of my generals are having kind of a similar strong castle, so I can survive the opening and maybe enjoy a long, peaceful game. Yes. Yes, it sounds cool, so it's also a good idea for this reason. Yes, I take here. I'm trying to force some exchanges. We do get an exchange, and I immediately have to put this back down because this bishop and rook are scaring me. But also because I was able to finally assert a foothold on the opposing side of the board. And then this is like the perfect moment to go up here. I just didn't do it. Yeah, this is exactly the logical continuation. And this is even stronger because the rook has retreated. And yeah, this would have been excellent. Yeah, we want to use all the pieces, not just the bishop. Instead, I fixated on trying to get my bishop out. And completely missed this. And then, so I'm in Byoyomi very soon after here. And I'm trying to calculate, like, how much can I sacrifice and still survive this? Because I would love to break open this castle, even though I'm not great at attacking. It just takes a couple mistakes and I'm in. So I have to throw the dice here at some point. Like, my knight's ready to jump into 5-3. I'm ready to try to open the 4th file here so I can promote my rook, threaten this gold in the back rank. You keep falling for the chess trap in shogi of developing your knights. Oh no. Never develop the knights. No. I don't know, like, here, this is actually a useful position to develop my knight, because I also have this, and, like, I'm also activating on the 4th file, and, like, the silver is coming over this way. Like, this is a beautiful harmony, and I missed this one freaking pawn that ruins everything. Just need to play one more patient move before I decided to go on this extremely aggressive attack. One move away. Oh, hey. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry. Yeah, This is a very interesting game. Maybe I could catch us up and recap since some more people have joined us lately here. Um, yeah, so I played my typical fourth file rook. Um, got our Mino castle. Um, yeah, I was really not sure if I should try to get my bishop out in the center this way, or if I should just build my Mino castle a little bit higher. Uh, it's six one way, half dozen the other, I suppose. This surprised me a bit. So yeah, this is interesting. I figure I'm kind of forced to give up a pawn, and it's not the end of the world, and I could continue playing an interesting game here. Um, yeah, I step my lance out just in case something goes horribly wrong, and I need to open the diagonal and put my bishop elsewhere. And we start launching our attack on the king. This surprised me, but again, openings are tricky. And yeah, I do need to look at more pro games and get appreciation for what all the shapes are and what all... Oh, I clicked the wrong button. I'm trying to click the button on the right of that goes back just one move. Unfortunately, I can't iterate through the move list with a keyboard, nor can I see all the buttons. Maybe I could shift this slightly to increase my chances of hitting the right button. But yeah, this was... I think this is good. This is kind of in the vein of a central file rook sort of thing where we're temporarily blocking the bishop, but maybe we'll have a timing attack later. So yeah, I briefly considered going forward with my silver, realized that was much too risky. It just loses tempi to go forward unless I'm going to sacrifice the silver, and I'm nowhere near ready to do that. Yeah, I think this, for me being a Q level player, this was very good. Again, some familiarity with shapes would help considerably. I mean, I know in general I'm not supposed to move my knight. Like, pushing the pawns is quite reasonable, but I was concerned about this breaking open on the 8th file, even though this is like where the king is at, and you don't want to put the king and the rook together. This just speaks to my inexperience. I should not be so afraid. But also I really wanted to use the knight. But yeah, I should build out my shape a little bit more since I have a really solid castle and I have time to expand on this side of the board. Yeah. So, Inamura. Alright. Let's see, what else? Oh, pawn 6-5, then pawn 5-6 is another way to engage. Oh. Let me take a look. Let's go back a little bit. Let's see. So another way to engage. Pawn 6-5, and then pawn 5-6. Somewhere around here. So there's the 6-5. There's the 5-6. So right here. One more. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, before the knight. Okay, so anywhere before this knight. Alright, so like instead of this... Oh, okay, since, yeah, we've got this pinned, we could consider this and then this advance. Okay, yeah. In general, I was spooked, but what spooked me here is like if the bishops exchange, then there's a bishop drop here. Oh, but I've got this square covered. So, even though I'm not going to have a pawn on this 5-7 anymore, because I have this silver covering this pawn, there's not going to be a promotion back here to worry about. Okay. So that's one less thing for me to be concerned about. And again, like this notion of the rook coming over, like this is crazy. Gota would never do this. Or if they did, I should still try to enjoy it rather than be afraid of it. Yeah, let's see. Well, what do I want? Let's say... Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy an attack on the king. Those are kind of fun. That looks kind of hard to come by because this castle's so heavily defended. Uh, King 8-2. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's not happening. So you have to come up with a move for Gota here. Right. Yeah, because like this silver kind of wants to hover around this castle unless there happens to be something on the right half of the board here. Yeah, so Gota could pass. If Gota were to pass all day, what would I do? It's an interesting exercise. Um, yeah, pawn 6-5, pawn 5-6. Pawn takes, and if we exchange here, yeah, then what might I want to do? Pawn 7-4. Okay, so yeah, that's right. If the rook takes here, the rook's not covering 7-4 anymore. So I could do pawn 7-4. And if pawn takes, then yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, this position's rather fluid. Ah, wow. So in addition to remembering that pieces can go back onto the board once you take them, these positions are way more fluid than chess positions are. Forcing your opponent's pieces to move in chess is very hard. But here, if we're exchanging pieces, that rook moves. The rook moves, then I can push this pawn. This forces... Well, this doesn't force them to capture with the pawn, but still. Yeah, no, this is interesting. Like, all these battles are very localized. Whereas in chess, it becomes easy to heavily defend squares that become fortresses. They're very difficult to attack. And it's difficult most of the time to get forcing moves. Here, yeah, shogi's got a lot of forcing moves, and things can change very surprising ways. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this is true too. Um, yeah, so, hmm. Yeah, playing the fourth file rook with kings in opposite corners like we're doing here is pretty strange. I'm still willing to accept this one strangeness instead of having to learn everything about static rook. But yeah, this is weird. Yes, pawn 7-4. I mean, potentially a gambit, but you're only gambiting a pawn, so that's light. That's a useful motif. Something we can consider in the future, especially because like this pawn, once I push it to 6-5, I'm already covering this square, so it's not like the silver can come up and like block my bishop. So yeah, that is really interesting idea. So this is, if Gota were to pass, I could actually do something useful here. Yeah. I mean, I could offer my own theories as to why where you put the rook determines the name of the opening. Um, so I think Shyman and I were kind of alluding to this in Zug Addict's most recent stream. Um, so in the opening, there's only so many different ways your bishop can become active. So um, so the pawn structure is not heavily dictated by where your bishop is, because you're going to end up playing similar pawn formations with respect to that bishop. And I mean, there are variations, but often you're going to consider pushing this seventh file pawn, get your bishop out on this long diagonal, or you'll consider like dropping the bishop back here. And but there's only a few ways you can activate the bishop. The rook can activate very many different ways, each with different categories of pawn formations. So how you decide to push your pawns and where you decide to put your rook in harmony with all your other pieces. I don't know. If you start pushing your pawns one way, that kind of dictates where your rook is going. And if you put your rook in a certain spot, that kind of dictates which pawns you're interested in pushing. So yeah, there's this synergy there. So I think that's part of it. And yeah, if you're playing static rook, like if you're just saying, I want my rook active, I want to go after a right castled king immediately, or I want to go after like a weakness in the base of this pawn chain immediately. Well, they don't have pawn chains, but you get the idea. Like, I want to hit this. You've committed very heavily. As Shaiman was saying, you've indicated your intent if you're pushing that pawn in front of the rook on your first few moves, that you're saying this is where I want to attack. Pawns don't go backwards. Let's see, does that mean keeping your pieces? Oh. That's an interesting idea. There is a proverb in shogi that push all the odd file pawns. So the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that's the proverb. Don't always take it literally, but for argument's sake, yeah. Oh yeah, if you promote the bishop, that changes the game too. But yes, you don't want to trap your bishop. So I've untrapped my bishop, finally got my pawn out of the way. And again, like, I just don't know enough shapes to really appreciate what I... Okay, well, yeah, Shogi Harbor here was pointing out, like, this is a nice little formation. One idea could be this sort of thing. That's not the only idea, but it's one idea. I just need to absorb more and more ideas and have some concept of how to attack. If I'd saved an extra tempo keeping my knight back here, this would probably be even better. Yeah, somehow I thought, like, oh, I'm just going to bring my knight forward and I'm going to either take right here on the 7th file and hope that something magical happens, or I'm going to try to invade on 5-3. Like, I need to look at more pro games and not make up nonsense. Yeah. Yep. So what more is there? Oh, this is fun. Yeah. So I think, like, for being so surprised at what was going on, I think this was okay. This... Okay, yeah, this was forced. I was hallucinating this morning. So after last night's session, I was still slightly drowsy. We were all kind of tired, but somehow I thought, like, this bishop was going to come up here and something bad was going to happen. Clearly, this bishop advance just traps the bishop. I just pawn push, that's it. because this rook is in a interesting location. Okay. Oh, the plan was the edge attack. Oh, this is a clever nuance then. So, yeah, silly little amateur me would be like, hey, if we're going to edge attack, let's just go here and build up this attack. So the nuance here is that we're luring this pawn forward, which normally would be part of the castle, so that later on bishop 5-5 can strike and then a knight drop can mate. Or at least that's an attacking idea. So that we're going to interpolate these moves, force this pawn to move forward, and then go for this edge file thing. No in shogi. Alright. Let's see. Oh, you think the proverb mostly applies to static? No, it just applies to shogi overall. Is tucking the king behind a lance ever an idea? There is the Anaguma castle. It's about the only time I've seen that done. I want to speed up. So bishop 4-4, knight 3-3, pawn 1-5, and immediately pawn drop 1-7. Let's see. So pawn drop 1-7 is how we speed up. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah, okay. We're having multiple conversations. I'm going to continue analyzing here. Yes, this gets the pawn in hand. And the reason I know that you're interested in a pawn in hand is because you commented so after the game in our post-game analysis that this was your goal, to get pawns in hand so you could conduct an attack. It's a common idea. So yeah, I kind of walked into this, and yeah, somewhere around here I seriously need to be considering speeding up my attack, which is stalled. Where did I go fishing here? Okay, yeah, I kicked the rook back, which actually does help clear the way for my attack on this side of the board. And then somewhere around here I lost the thread. Well, this is risky. I mean, it's okay, but I do wonder. Yeah, I initiated exchanges, and this is not the right time for me to do that because my bishop is still not active. I still want these pawns a little more active. If I can delay these exchanges, delaying it would be ideal. I don't like climbing my silver further doesn't achieve anything here. I think the exchanges were okay, but I don't know. This is just like how strange my shape is. Oh, here you're interested in activating the silver. Okay, so it's not that you want to exchange the silver, you're just trying to activate it one way or the other, and we just happen to exchange it as part of that activation. Right. And open the fourth file to... Oh, yes. I remember this now. The stealth fourth file attack that I was very, very surprised by. This is what led it. Okay. Yeah, so if I want to slow down the attack, I don't take here. I come up with my own attack, and if I have to, gambit a pawn. So yeah, if one idea I could have here would just be bring this forward. And, I mean, hypothetically this could take, and then this would be a fork, and I could recollect my pawn, This would be one way I could go. Um, and this way I don't suddenly come under attack by the silver that came out of nowhere. And a pawn that dropped in the middle of my base when I was very surprised. So the problem is the pawn 9-4 is out of the reach of the knight. Yeah, I didn't even consider, like, I don't know edge file tactics well enough, but I guess there's some cases where you'd be interested in a knight sacrifice to start an edge file combination. Um, this really speaks to just I don't know a lot. I'm always learning. Um, so, okay, it's usually how they activate the knight in AF Furibusha. In shape Senta 9-5 go to 9-3, then this knight sacrifice is possible, but it's out of reach here. Unless I have a pawn in hand and can use that on the edge. This is also why I keep... Oh. Huh. Okay. I guess that makes sense. So this I Furibusha, or yeah, I pushing the king to 2-8 is just asking for trouble. That makes sense. I don't have to put the king on 2-8, especially if there's a rook bearing down there. And it's funny because I just watched some other player play a game and I made the same exact comment that, like, why are they putting the king here? And then I played this. So it's like, in one sense I am aware of this, in another sense, like, I'm really not. That's funny. Um, so yeah, I'd moved my knight unnecessarily. I've put my king in harm's way. What other fun things did I do this game? Also shows where the edge pawn. Yeah, so like this reminds me of the Sicilian opening in chess. Like one of us is going to break first, so the edge pile tactics really dictate the pace of the game. So I should familiarize myself with some of them if I'm going to play this kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. So, um, seems putting your king in front of the lance would. I mean, there's probably worse ideas. Um, but yeah, putting the king in front of the lance would be a desperate move in general. Um, yeah, I got stuck. Well, yeah, that presumes that I had ideas to begin with. But yes, I got stuck between both ideas. In beginner play, like, I would just wander about. A beginner opponent would also wander, and I'd find an acorn somewhere, and it would be fine. A blind squirrel can find an acorn, but yeah, yeah, I got stuck between ideas because one, this is not like a 6-hour game, um, so I was already in Byoyomi like forever ago. And two, I just need to look at more pro games. So, I need to have ideas ready so I'm not having to invent everything. But yeah, I got stuck between ideas. Uh, that said, for like a speedy, this is not the fastest game. This is like 15-minute. For that, this is still pretty good. That like I found a lot of ideas. I whiffed very hard. Completely missed. Like this is a pin. This is clearly intended. I've done this sort of pin and attack before. Like clearly, this is the move that justifies what I've done in the last 10 moves or so. Um, and then we have an interesting game here. Um, One where, yeah, I'm still shuffling a lot. I'm probably still in a great deal of trouble. My silver is off in La La Land. My pawns are hanging back. I'm still trying to smell a weakness, and there's not an obvious weakness because we're playing a good game. Uh, yeah, we all have to find things. Do I see the bishop's head is weak? Yeah, no, that makes sense. I actually during the game, I had briefly thought of this. Like, this bishop doesn't have very many squares to go to, and hypothetically, if I could get something here that would strike the bishop, and so you'd have to anticipate this before I would take here. So, like, by the time I'd had set up to attack the bishop, or the head of the bishop, you would have had to find some way to escape these pieces without losing material and falling to some other tactics. That had actually occurred to me. So yeah, I actually kind of forced you to play this center file thing, because your bishop is so prone over here, and you're not interested in moving your rook away. So yeah, I had entirely forced your hand. Well, forced is the wrong word, but yeah, I brought in my own demise by scaring this bishop away, and then not thinking about just how afraid this bishop is. Ah, you want to attack. Okay, okay. Interesting. Pawn 1-5, 5-6, 1-4, 5-6. Oh. Okay, let's put that on the board. Because you say this is a trap. So, let's see. Bishop 5-7. Yeah. We're calling this a trap. I see that you do want to attack. Like, there's something really fundamental about this I'm not understanding. Okay, my king safety is... I suppose king safety is the thing that I'm not understanding. Let's see. We're afraid of the bishop line, so put the bishop to protect the rook. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. It's a cool idea. In general, I don't appreciate king safety very much, and this is a very fun idea, and, like, somehow I thought, like, this bishop was striking here, and this opened the first file also. Because I've been doing sume puzzles, and in these puzzles, like, everything is just magic. So I've been seeing, or looking at puzzles, struggling with them, but, like, all kinds of crazy magic happens there. So I need to come back to reality a bit. No, this is a cool idea. And probably, like, if there were just slightly more of an attack here, I would still have the same reaction, and I would get killed, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what the idea was. So let's go back to the game. Yeah, this was good. It didn't even occur to me, like, I could run away. I don't know, like, what I was thinking. I thought I could take this one way. I could take this the other way and give up the rook. I could take this this way, and somehow this looked horrible. Why did I not like this? Oh, right. Yeah, this looked super horrible. Well, this, and yeah, so, taking this way was wrong, but just run away. And this pawn, it doesn't promote on the square it's currently on. It would have to go forward one square to promote, and like I could go back. Oh, 8-9 rook. Yeah, 8-9 rook drop. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. What more is there? Oh, yeah, so I threatened this check, and yeah, at this point I just kind of collapsed. And I think that's fair. We had an interesting game up to this point. Clearly, like, yes, this gold needs to move. I need to play good moves and not collapse here. I think this was just mental fatigue more than anything else. But, yeah. So in the middle game, we arrive at a position, and we ask ourselves in that position, who has more influence on the opponent's king? Yeah. I've played so many games with Anaguma, and my attitude has been like, okay, either my king is safe or it's not. Let's attack. Um, and yeah, balancing attack and defense is something I need to do better at. Let's see. Yeah, here you've managed to have a more severe attack. The pawn you exchanged on the 4th in order to get this pawn drop 4-8 influence. Yeah. And I welcomed this exchange because I didn't know what was going on, but also I couldn't figure out how to further my attack because, well, we've been over that. But yes, so I need to be concerned here. Oh, yeah. Early decisions heavily influence the endgame that gets produced. Yeah. So, yeah, earlier on in the middle game is when we need to be asking ourselves these sorts of questions. This might be a bit early, but somewhere around here, we need to keep all these things in mind and be careful about what sorts of exchanges we are offering. Like when I push this pawn, yeah, I'm suggesting let's start exchanging, um, even though I didn't realize I was doing that. Um, let's see. Yeah, like toward the, I think around here is where I needed. I mean, I'm in Byoyomi, um, and like it's what 7 a.m. or something. I hadn't had my tea yet, but I was so excited to play this game. Because how often do you get to play against a professional? So, yeah, this is great. But yeah, no, it's somewhere around here that you need to figure out, like who has the more severe attack. What sorts of exchanges do you want to encourage? What lines do you want to open? What pieces need to stay where they are? Yeah, there's a lot to think about, but these are the interesting positions in the game. Like this is what the whole opening was building up to, is these very challenging pivotal moments. This is, I mean, some people find the end game super exciting, and it is. It's very tactical when both kings are under attack, or when one king's under attack and you're trying to figure out is it going to survive or not. Um, that can be very exciting. Um, but chess also has that sort of thing. What's kind of unique to shogi is this protracted phase of the game where just lots and lots of decisions are made, and some of which the player recognizes they're making, some of which they're not fully aware of. But yeah, this ability to make middle game decisions is just fascinating. Um, in order to do that sort of thing in chess, you have to have this tremendous amount of opening memorization. And I say this as a player who has almost reached 2,000 internationally rated in chess. Um, just like the amount of memorization I've had to put in to get anywhere with chess has been extraordinarily frustrating. And this is a huge relief that here I can just enjoy playing games and get to figure things out. Like, this is a wonderful game. Yeah. Yeah. And whether or not I improve, at least I hope I can enjoy it. There's, yeah, just a lot to enjoy about shogi. Yeah, it's true in chess there is no piece dropping. That's certainly the case. I mean, I've played Crazy House. That's a different animal, but yeah. So this is very cool, and yeah, it's great how as long as I'm not playing static rook, I can actually get these confusing positions where we get to make decisions, and it's not all pre-dictated for us. Um, Whereas with Static Rook, there's a lot of content for beginners, and Hidechi went through this tremendous effort cataloging tons of Static Rook openings and teaching all the forced variations to the beginners. And these things have stood the test of time. Um, but yeah, this sort of very confusing battleground is where I kind of aim for in chess as well, where often I get a worse, much worse, or completely lost position and then manage to either draw or win it. Um, Here in shogi, I can actually get confusing positions and not have to be lost to do it. And we get to go on a bit of an adventure. So yeah, this is very exciting. Uh, so yeah, for those who missed it this morning, we could go through the rest of the game. Sure, why not? We've come this far. Let's see how it went. uh, Keep in mind, I was in Byoyomi, so any blunders I make are a fault of my own time management, as well as just being a noob. This is cool. I mean, yeah, I saw this was possible, and I'm like, I don't know if I believe this. This looked like maybe I could survive this, and no. No, this is just, that's game. Because I can't do this. That's not legal. Um, but also, this is stronger than I thought. Like, wow. Point number one. Um, Point number one's fairly straightforward. I saw that. Point number two. This. And yeah, that hurts. Bishop takes might also work. I wonder. I mean, it's not like my attack's going to break through any instant now. I could be a little delusional, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to checkmate any instant right now. So, yes, this check would lead to this. And is there a Summa here? I doubt it. Maybe. Again, some people really enjoy this phase of the game. It can be kind of exciting. But yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on there being a sume. Um, hmm. So the only thing that can block a check would be this pawn. Like if this were to go backwards with check and try to cut off those squares, you could drive the king up. And we'd lose a piece in the process. I'm sorry, we'd lose the bishop in the process, and the king would threaten to go back. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to checkmate where every move is check here. Unless, like, this promotion somehow does it. Maybe. Yeah, there's no checkmates. Let's just take with the rook. Right. So, yeah, just this he-she seemed pretty clear. I didn't anticipate... Well, yeah, it was in Byoyomi, but when I saw this, that's when I resigned. I'm like... so I saw that coming one move before it happened. Right? Or did this actually show up in the game? Hang on. Wait. I think I did resign when the bishop checked because I saw this rook take. So I looked slightly ahead. So that was cool. Let's see. Did you did well considering the opponent's strength? Have to run. Glad you caught most of the game. Cool. Yeah. Adventures are fun. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a nice little tactic to see in action. Because, yeah, if I'm ever faced with this sort of thing and thinking about, like, if this attack had been more severe and if I were in Gota's shoes here, I'm not sure that I would have committed to this silver drop. Now, having seen, like, that this rook takes can be, that just wins. So Senta at this point has to checkmate, and that's just not happening. So yeah, this tactic is useful. So very cool. Yeah, this is exciting. Well, we also had she was a bit distracted playing 3 or 4 games at once. But yeah, we were playing 15-minute, so I had time to think. I did a lot of things right this game. I was actually quite impressed, even though I burned out and it was like it was quite the scene at the end. Yeah, I did a lot of things right this game. I built something of a solid castle. Activated my silver. Didn't do anything overly committal that would ruin my position. Didn't hang this lance and some diagonal combination. Did manage to push some of these pawns forward. Left my knight where it was supposed to be. Again, we have the Mino castle. Didn't like fall to some sort of piece drop in my camp in the opening. So yeah, overall this this was okay. The knight move was not very good. This again, I think she was maybe slightly distracted playing so many games at once. But I mean, yes, no, this is still good for her. But I was surviving after the opening. Yeah. I mean that. I guess that's the goal here, is to try to make her earn the win. Yeah, winning is not on the table yet, not even close. But yeah, playing a game then seeing like, can we have an interesting game? This is where we're at the moment. Yeah, just give her something to think about while she's playing like 3 or 4 games at once. Um, so thought Nakabisha would be too rare to seriously focus on, but Shogi is popularizing it with the beginners. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, at some point I do want to do further study, not just on Frobisher here, but also, yes, the Central Fall Rook. Actually, I might have time tomorrow to start looking at that. That could be interesting. Um, yeah, this is cool. Like, normally I'd be afraid to sacrifice an exchange here. Um, this morning, like, yeah, I managed to dispense with that fear, and um, usually I'm extremely materialistic. Uh, Chess does that to you. But here I'm like, it's not even worth it. Let's offer that exchange, and if it gets taken, I'm probably fine. Again, I should look at more pro games to see like whether this idea is completely insane or not. But material is all relative in this game. In chess, it's almost absolute. Like if you lose material and you don't have a way to attack, it's just over. In shogi, not so. So, yeah, and I just burned out. But that was an interesting game. And yeah, I was glad to see the post game analysis afterward. I highlighted a couple pieces of it where in 2 minutes we cover like 35 different ideas that I didn't see. Um, but we also covered some things I did see, so that was really nice. Okay, so we did do some Suma earlier today. Um, yeah, maybe I'll play a practice game or something. I'm hearing a voice in the distance, and I don't know what that is. I'm very confused. Okay. Let me switch my perspective here. Let me go check on... Oh, wait, do I not have... Okay, I've lost my 81 Dojo signed in game window thing. Client. Client is the word I was looking for. Let's get the client back open. Not sure what happened. Okay, good. We have a client. That's beautiful. Let me put a game on. I know this one's kind of toward the end anyway, but I'm going to go check on what that voice is. I'll be right back. Wrong window.
10秒 20秒 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10秒 10秒
Okay, yeah, it was nothing to worry about. That's all good. How's this game doing?
10秒 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 20秒
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, when is that game scheduled? Because that's definitely going to be fun to watch whenever that does happen.
주묘
Okay, I'm going to slightly boost my speakers.
20秒 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9
Yeah, another thing I've been learning a little how to do better is manage my time in Byoyomi. Like, yeah, the lesson
10秒
Shogi Harbor gave us was to spend most of your Byoyomi time, even if you know what you're going to play, spend a little
20秒
time
1
thinking about what's
2
still coming up,
3
what
4
exchanges you want to do, what goals you have in the end game, that sort of thing, what you want to avoid. So, yeah, lately
10
I've
秒
been doing slightly better at managing anxiety in Byoyomi. Um, it's quite an adjustment from chess where
20
you don't even
秒
have to
1
think about it.
2
You
3
either are playing
4
with some
5
sort of delay
6
or
7
increment,
8
or you're
9
playing with just an analog clock or the lack of an increment or delay. If you're playing without a delay or an increment
10
in
秒
chess, you just go crazy. There's no time to think, you just play. If you're playing with a delay clock, you have a little bit of
20
time to
秒 1
think, but it's always a panic, and it's almost always just about 5 seconds before every move, which is completely
10
crazy, but
秒
it's the status quo. Um, if you're playing with an increment, you really don't
20
think too
秒
much
1
about
3
time
4
management.
5
Like, if you
6
need the time, you use
7
it. If you don't need the time, you don't
9
use it, and it saves up. You spend whatever time you need, and the clock will keep track of how much time you have left. Rarely would you budget time ahead, um, unless your move is obvious,
10
and you just
秒
play it. But if you're playing with an increment, you just think as you need to. And if you're playing Byoyomi, it's slightly different than increment in that, yes, you get extra
10
time to
秒
think. It's kind of more like delay, but anyway, yeah, you want to spend that time.
20
Um,
秒 1
you're not going to be able to force your opponent to flag. Um, moving faster isn't going to, like, if you're playing with a 5 second delay on a chess clock, sometimes you'll be down to a minute, they'll be down to a minute. You'll play a quick move sometimes
20秒
and
1
try to get their
2
clock to tick down to 55 seconds, to 50, to 45, etc.
7
So by
8
playing lots of fast moves, you can try to force your opponent's time to approach zero. With Byoyomi here, there's not really that concern. Like, they're always going to get the same time for every
10
move.
秒
So, yeah, you can try to force them to play bad moves or something because they only have 30 seconds or 60 seconds or so much to
20
think per
秒
move.
1
So sometimes you could still play rapidly and force them to
5
think, but your goal is not to run them out on the clock. Your goal is to beat them on the board. So yeah, I do like Byoyomi as a time control. Um,
10秒
yeah, 5 seconds in chess is, we'll put it this way. I was playing a game with about, this was table 1, board 1, the final round of this team state championship.
주력,
So I was captaining a team with 8 players, and after a completely insane game, here I am playing against like some near professional level player, um, and we get down to this extremely messy end game, and the clock is ticking this whole time, and I'm trying to manage my time and also find all the right moves and also make sure that I don't lose the match for my team. So amidst all that chaos, somehow I had managed. I promoted a pawn, got a queen, and like
주력,
5, 8, some number of moves later, had dropped that queen to a king rook skewer.
이주력,
So I had to move my king out of the way, and then rook takes queen.
3,
That was played using a delay clock, where we had like 5 seconds per move, and I was in extreme time pressure. So, yeah, my team still carried us through. We still won the state championship, but the clock did not help. So yeah, with Byoyomi, you got time to think.
주력,
I think it's an improvement. And maybe I'm just saying that in light of my experience, but I might have a bias. But no, I think it's good.
주력,
But yeah, also shogi positions are really, really complicated. I mean, yeah, some of my chess games have been pretty complicated too. We see that I have a penchant for crazy positions. But yeah, shogi just in general is extremely tactical and complicated, and pieces are always re-entering the board, and some of them are promoted, and you have to consider what you're exchanging for what.
주력,
So yeah, 5 seconds of actually on Abama they've played some blitz games with like 5 second increment.
니,
They've done this on a physical board. And okay, yeah, I get that like the pieces themselves are not when you're playing with a chess set, the pieces are trivial to move about. You don't need to be especially you don't need to have the best motor skills, and the pieces don't slide around, and like it's very easy to move the chess pieces. Shogi pieces are
주력,
slightly more complicated to move, but most of the complexity of this is just that you're always playing with a full board of pieces, or the pieces are always on the piece stand and able to re-enter, and like so even 5 second increment instead of 5 second delay is still insanely fast for shogi. Makes for some exciting TV programming for amateurs to watch.
록, 시치,
Um, oh yes, and this reminds me, TV programming. I still need to view some of the food pictures from the Kisei match. Oh man, all the food sounds amazing. Yesterday, as I was casting things, I could not simultaneously bring up all these other sources. So even if I end up missing that in future matches, it'll be cool to see the foods and the drinks and everything they do that's presented well.
주력,
Yeah, promise that someone's going to translate the annotated kifu that's about to be published. Yes, yes, that makes sense.
시, 고,
Oh yeah, yeah. We were talking about the roast beef meal and how it was some kind of special roast beef that It's not quite like a hamburger. It was more like a actual roast beef,
20秒
and
1
I'm
2
drawing a blank. Like how this is something that was served with some garnish. Um, yeah.
10秒
It's funny, I've seen like some other shots, not for this latest game, but
20秒
yeah,
1
when they present like the
2
food trays,
3
sometimes there'll be
4
like dessert
5
items or some
6
other little
7
small items, and they'll
8
be individually
9
wrapped and packaged beautifully, and they'll have a napkin or something to that effect, and um, the players will delicately eat the items and
10
then
秒
carefully clean things, and things will be done in a very orderly fashion. And they're doing all this while also having to sit in Seiza the whole time. Oh my goodness. Um,
10
yeah, I'm not sure
秒
I could do Seiza. uh, they were talking about the origin of the hamburger during the.
20
Yeah, that'll
秒
be
1
pretty cool too.
2 3 4
Oh,
5
I wonder. So yeah, of course, like there's going to be tons of articles published. So I do need to take a look
10
at,
秒
find some of these articles and see all the pictures they have. Um, yeah, because that'll be
20
interesting.
秒 1
I mean, yes, there will be many pictures of Fuji's face, but
5
I think hopefully
6
there'll
8
be many other
9
pictures published. Okay. I did not foresee that. Oh, okay. That's right. The
10
piece that's
秒
on 9-6 is not a dragon. That's a dragon horse. So that makes this move make a lot more sense.
20秒
Where
1
we're now threatening
2
horse takes
3
7 8. So we're going to protect the 7-8 square so the horse doesn't take it. And now we're going to repeat the tactic with another pawn. And then we're going to repeat this with another pawn. Right? I mean, if you're not...
10
Unless you have a
秒
mate. But if you had a mate, like, you would have gone for that already. So surely we're going to put another pawn down on
20
7-7.
秒 1 2 3 4 5 6 7
Miso soup with udon. Like, guys, are we going to see pawn takes? Are we going to see a pawn drop and a pawn drop and a pawn takes,
10
etc.?
秒
We might get our first Sinishite here.
20秒
Unless the
1
players can find something better.
3 4 5 6 7 8 9
Here we go. Yeah. Goto is not content with the draw. Alright, this repeats. Are we going to see a gold drop now? Like, the gold could cover the pawn. Oh, but...
20秒 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9
Okay. That's interesting. We've sacrificed a dragon.
10秒
I did not anticipate the dragon sacrifice, particularly after avoiding
10秒
a draw. How in the world can we follow this up? Like, are we going to build this little castle around our king?
20秒
Is that what's going on here? Um,
10秒
we can't pawn drop on the last rank. So if we're going to block, we have to block with something else.
20秒 1 2 3
Or we have to move our token.
6 7 8
Alright. Senta is just going to walk over there and take the silver. Gota's going to have to find some sort of attack before that happens. Or build up a very solid castle out of nothing.
3 4
Which seems challenging.
6 8 9
But yeah, maybe we're up to the challenge. I was wondering earlier if this gold was going to drop there. This might be a better occasion for it.
10秒
So yeah, horse goes to 9-7, right? No, we sacrifice the horse. We're horsing around, guys. Alright, so now what? Senta thinks they can survive long enough to carry out an attack.
10秒
Senta's 3 Dan, Gota's 5 Dan. And this is a tenuous position, but it looks
3 4
like Senta's attack is slowed a bit. Yeah. I didn't see that. I was considering more defensive things, like trying to protect the silver with a pawn. But okay, here we are with something much more aggressive. And there's a resignation. Yeah, Senta just doesn't have enough pieces left. Wow. Okay, and the players review. Okay, there's this exchange. So by trading off the bishops, they could protect their rook for a little longer and maybe build an attack before their rook gets taken. Or maybe they're considering sacrificing the rook for something. I'm not sure. Oh, but a bishop in hand covers a lot of squares as well. Alright, this game is too confusing. Perhaps I play a practice game. Especially because these players have left. Let's see, we have players seeking practice games. None that I immediately recognize. Except for guest D2 62A7. Yeah, I don't recognize that player either. Let's seek a unrated 10-minute 30-second Byoyomi just for practice. I guess while we seek an opponent, here's a 5-minute game we can look at. Oh boy. We got some tactics here. Promote? Maybe? Is the promotion too risky? We'll find out. Stay tuned for next episode. Yeah, but no, bishop drop could hit the dragon and then take the lance and promote. So this might be risky. Our Gota is only a knight in hand, and I've looked and there's nowhere obvious to put the knight. So, yeah, this dragon doesn't have too many great squares to go to. This is 5-minute shogi. Alright, so we sacrifice to get a bishop. Oh, there is a place to put the bishop. But the rook can protect the pawn. Oh wait, but no, the bishop can escape in the center file. So, yeah. We might see the bishop get exchanged for a rook here in a second. I have a cycle of pieces getting exchanged over and over. But each time Senta will try to get something more onto the board to attack with. Alternatively, bishop drop at 2-2 might be fine. But might also get trapped. Ah, okay, we're going to secure our king a little bit. If we don't get an opponent by the time this game ends, we might just wrap up. This begs the question, will the game end? Because it just seems to keep getting sharper and sharper. Alright, we've got a rook. Right, you have to keep the back rank protected. And this rook doesn't look very safe. Okay. Yeah, it looks like Senta's just mopping up at this point. It's very difficult to imagine where the knight might land. It's important to find a good square for the knight, but finding one could be quite challenging. My stream is dropping 0.1% of the frames. seems Gota's having a minute to think here. Finding ways to activate pieces could be challenging. They might be considering something super committal here. But what? Okay. Ah, so the king might be overworked. It seems to me that every position might have a couple overworked pieces. We have an opponent. Alright, this shall be exciting. Alright, good luck. Fourth file opening, here we go. Okay, we have an edge, some sort of very speedy attack going on here. Oh, wow. That's bold. Yes, they had considered pushing this fourth file pawn against my fourth file pawn push. That could be exciting. Okay, we're going to protect squares over here before stuff gets real. Stuff's about to get real. Okay, now they've actually protected their squares. I'm not winning material by advancing this. It's too early to push. Okay, really? Are we seriously doing this? Is that bishop gonna move again? Okay, this is just... I know I play with fire, but... yeah, this is something else. Holy moly, is my opponent playing with fire. So if they manage to exchange a silver or a bishop, that could end up dropping on 8-2 or 8-2, 2-8, whatever that is. But I can attack too. Looking for attacking ideas. Yeah, we're going to play one more defensive move here. Alright, now they've advanced their bishop. My goodness, what are they doing? We're going to have some fun here today. They are provoking me to play this, and so I play it. Okay. They are daring me to trade bishops. I don't need to take that dare. Right, so normally the rook would just retreat. But there are circumstances here. Are they going to bring out their other knight? Is this the big idea? There's stuff to find. There is much stuff to find. This is still a good file for my rook. There's no need to move it. Can't believe I just considered Nifu up here. Wait. Mistakes are all there waiting to be played. Okay, let's complete our castle before messing this up. Well, we learned something about edge file attacks today, didn't we? We'll see if we did. How about that? Let's assume we learned something about edge file attacks today. Perhaps I'm assuming too much. Oh, is this the moment where he decides to exchange? Why now? What's the big idea? Okay. That is strategic. Yes, I see. So the idea is they would like to put the king into the corner. Or that they are intending to put some other piece there, but come on. This is intending to put the king in the corner. So. It'd be nice to have other things in hand so I could conduct an attack. Okay, we'll do this. Why not? Something needs to open for an attack to occur. Alright, I have a pawn in hand. There's a square I can put a pawn. Another surprising move. Okay. Put the pawn to some use. Okay, unless I've terribly bungled here, I can put my rook somewhere useful. Why is this something he'd even consider? I don't understand. I have to take this. I don't understand. Is this the same opponent who played the first half of the game? Who is being caught very much off guard by my play? Could be. Or is he just fishing for a particular piece? Okay, that's a mouse slip. That is a terrible mouse slip to make. Assuming it is that. Okay. So I'm threatening bishop drop check. Actually, silver drop check would be... Well, I don't have silver, but you get the idea. That's annoying.
20秒。1、2、3、4、5、6。
I wish I had a better move.
20秒。1、2、3。
Oh, thankfully, like, I'm behind his pawns, so yeah, he can't drop a pawn to deal with this. Wow. Okay, well, yeah, this looks painful to try to stave off my attack.
10秒。
Okay, that pins the silver. Alright, that'll do. That'll do. That was a game. Alright. Good game. I don't know if they have any more comments to add. We can zoom back out and see if they chatter at all. Thanks. Yeah, it was a good game. Interesting. Yeah, we seem to have entered the Twilight Zone with this browser. The page is very slowly reloading. Perhaps I need to, well, I'm not sure what I need to do here. Can I exit game? Yeah, let's exit game before things break further. Alright, and then we get to rate our opponent. They were a nice player. And we'll copy this Kifu to the Discord for posterity. Okay, so yeah, we had some good Kifu review, some excellent assistance analyzing the game from a female professional shogi player, Shogi Harbor. Make sure to check out, well, she's got a YouTube channel, she has a Twitch channel, she's got lots of information about how to get started playing shogi. Stay tuned on this server. You'll find periodically tournaments that are ongoing. I've joined this tourney to Shodan. Perhaps in a future time I'll analyze my most recent game that we played, or help with the analysis of some other games